Hi everyone, it's Ellen and today I have a new scrapbook layout to share with you. So I'm working with Jen Hadfield's Peaceful Heart collection today, and I was immediately struck by this beautiful rainbow paper, and I knew I wanted to create something using a nice big chunk of that because it's so pretty. I love that. And recently there has been loads and loads of like pinwheel, starburst style layouts, and I wanted to do something similar, but as I work on A4 size, the pinwheel I created would have to be really small, because obviously I haven't got the room that I would have on a 12 by 12 layout. So instead of doing something really small, I've decided to go for a half pinwheel starburst, so I've cut two large semicircles out of one out of the rainbow paper and another out of a like corresponding striped paper. It's sort of a mustard yellow and it's got pink and white stripes on it, and I just thought this worked really lovely with the rainbow paper because all of those colours are in that paper. I've cut out my triangles here, and then I really wanted to incorporate my photo as part of the starburst. So one of the rainbow papers is going to be mostly covered up with one of my photos instead. And then the two papers will be layered up. So I've cut the white rainbow paper smaller than the mustard paper, and they will go over the top of each other. Sort of overlap. You'll see when I put it down what I mean. So I've rubbed out all of the pencil lines from my two sheets of pattern paper, and then I'm distressing all of the edges, and I keep layering them on top of each other to see how they look, see if I want to change anything, and I end up trimming down the white paper just a tad. I wanted to be able to see the mustard paper on either side, not just sort of on the semicircle. Again, I hope that you'll understand what I mean when I show you. Just going to finish distressing all of these edges. So for my background, I'm just going for some white cardstock because I've already got lots of pattern from the two pattern papers that I've used. And you can see here I'm just trimming off some of the sides of my smaller starburst pieces. Like I said, just so you can see some of that mustard paper peeking through on each of the sides, and then obviously I have to distress all of the edges again because I trimmed them down. But this is how it's going to sit, with the starburst coming sort of from the right hand side of the page. And I was really pleased I did this because I think it looks really striking. So even if you do work on a smaller size layout than 12 by 12, you can still create the designs you like and just adapt them to fit the size of your paper. I have never created a 12 by 12 layout. I keep thinking about it, but I really like my A4 layout, so I'm just going to keep creating with this size for now. You can still create, you can still take inspiration from 12 by 12 pages and just adapt to fit your size. So this is a really good example of doing that. I've trimmed my photo down even more so that I can back it with my rainbow paper. The photo is quite dark, and I didn't like the look of it straight onto the mustard coloured paper, so by trimming it down slightly and backing it with some more of that rainbow paper, it just gives it a bit of a border, and I was much happy with how that looks. I'm now going to stick the two pattern papers together so that I can move them around as one, because I'm really happy with how they're looking now. I decided to add a little bit of colour to my background. I didn't want to go too crazy with this because I've deliberately chosen a white background because it makes the pattern papers pop, but I love to add a little bit of mixed media. So I'm just using my Victoria Velvet Distress ink, Tim Holtz Distress ink, and I'm using my blending brushes just to add a really soft sort of haze around those pinwheel pieces, and I also go down the center as well because there's gaps in the starburst pinwheel pieces, and it looked a bit odd with pink on the end and not in the middle. So yeah, I just drew those lines there so I can see where they all sit. And this is really subtle in the final design, but it just looks like a bit of a glow. So yeah, it looks really pretty. And then I'm also going to add some splatters again with that same colour. I've just smushed some onto my mat, added some water, and just done some really little paint splatters. And yeah, I think that looks really pretty. So I can now get these starburst pieces all stuck in place, and I'm just adding a little bit of double-sided tape in the center of each triangle because I'm going to sew through them, and my sewing machine is fed up of me sewing through glue or double-sided tape. So yeah, I've sewn through each triangle piece here. I am adding some foam squares just to each corner of my paper layers, and I can do that because I've only stuck down the center. That just gives it a bit of lift, a bit of interesting dimension. And then along my photo triangle, I've added foam squares all the way around just to make that one stand out a little bit more, because obviously that's the main image. And I didn't sew through that either because I'd be sewing through Theo's head, which is not ideal. So this photo is Theo in April, so he would have been about 9 months, and when he was really little he used to have contact naps, so he wouldn't nap in his cot or anything. He always napped on one of us, and I miss this like crazy now. At the time it would be quite difficult sometimes because I'd be looking around thinking of all of the things I had to do around the house, and I'd end up quite often falling asleep as well. And now, I wish he would nap like this again with me, but he wouldn't. He is in his cot now, and he would think it was playtime if I tried to get him to nap on me now. But I'm really glad I took these pictures because it's a lovely memory to look back on. And even though this was only just over a year ago, there's still lovely memories to look back on, and I miss them even now. So yeah, I've just added a bit more of the mustard paper along the left hand side of my page. It was looking a little bit bare there, and I've just ruffled up the edges. So I haven't trimmed anything off my background, but I've ruffled up the edges so you can just see little hints of it peeking through, and I think that gives it a really nice effect. I've added my title using some Pink Fresh thickers, I believe, and I wrote Cuddle Nap because that's what we called it. We called it his Cuddle Naps or his Cug Naps, so yeah, I added them. And I wasn't sure about these at first because they came in capital letters and lowercase letters, and I've had to mix and match them because I didn't have enough in either style, but actually I think it looks really cute, so I'm glad I gave that a go because normally I wouldn't have done. And I don't know if I've done it yet, but I do sew through with a white stitch through those because I've deliberately sort of overlapped them a little bit. By stitching through them, it means that then they're not going to ping off or anything in my albums. I knew from the start I wanted to create a floral cluster in the centre of my starburst design. So I've picked out a few of the flowers, the ones without white borders, and then I've picked out some leaf sprigs as well, and all of these did have a white border, and I've just fussy cut them off because they didn't look quite right with the flowers, not to me anyway. So yeah, I've fussy cut all of them out. and I just I laid them all out on the page so that I was happy with how it was looking, and then I'm just going back and adding layer by layer. So I'm adding a flower, then some leaves, then a couple more flowers, and then some leaves, just to make it look a bit more natural. And I think this looks so pretty in the center of the page. I really like how this looks. I do go around and add some foam squares in different areas just to give lift and dimension to my little floral cluster, and then that center flower I add some foam squares as well, again just to prop that up. And I will trim off the excess parts that are going across the page, going off the page. I've also got that big black and white butterfly there, and that pretty much stays where I've put it. And again, I fussy cut that because it had quite a large white border on it, which I didn't really want. So yeah, I'm just going around now and adding some really tiny foam squares to some of my leaf sprigs, just to make it look a bit more natural. So I've glued down my butterfly, and like I always do, I added some foam squares just onto the tops of the wings so that it looks like it's sort of fluttering across the page. I also have another one of my fussy cut leaves, and I wanted to add something to the outside. So the top left hand corner of my page was looking just a little bit bare, and I thought I would just add a little bit of a small leaf cluster there, just to give it something extra. And the part where the segment of my photo, the top of that was looking a bit bare as well, so I've added a floral cluster sticker around there, and I've also got a really small tab piece that just says love you, and it's in that gorgeous sage green colour that are in the leaves. I'm building a cluster around my butterfly, so I'm adding another butterfly and some more fussy cut leaves, and I've also added 2 snails to this page. So when I first saw these, I thought I am never ever going to use them on a layout, because snails does not represent any part of my life, but they look really cute, sort of crawling up the segments of my starburst. So I'm really pleased I added these, and I just sort of tucked them in between the paper layers, and I think they look really cute. I think because I've got lots of florals on this page, they work. So yeah, I was really pleased that I used them on a layout, because I did not think I'd be able to. And I've just stuck them down flat at the bottom and added some foam squares to their shells as well. So yeah, I'm sticking that little leaf cluster to the top left hand side, and I've added the date, and then that's my page all finished. I did just add some really small, you can see in the photos here, some really tiny black splatters to my page. I've got a lot of black and white in the butterfly and the leaves, and it just needed a really subtle hint of that to me. So yeah, I added some really small black splatters that you'll be able to see in the photos, and yeah, all done. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you very much for being here. Bye everyone.